Now, moving on, the family of a 10-year-old boy who died at the Tema General Hospital shortly after being given what they say is an overdose of painkillers are demanding a probe into circumstances that led to his death. The boy's mother, Mabel Sanai, says her son complained of heartburn, excessive sweating and extreme pain in the throat before he died. He had days before his death been treated at the hospital for an injury he suffered while playing football, and so the mother returned him to the facility when he started complaining of what she believed was the effect of the overdose. Maxwell Agbagba caught up with the mother, Mabel Sanai, in Tema.
My child went to school, Easter vacation classes, and went there after the final one. He was playing ball, and he said he was standing there, and the other friend knocked him down from the gate on his leg. And the time he came home, he doesn't want to tell me because I want him to don't, because he went to the operation before. So I want him to don't play ball at the school. So the time he came back, he doesn't want to tell me. And his elder brother, he is the one who told me that he saw him playing ball. So I should ask him how come before his leg is paining. Before he said it, he was standing there and one of his friends knocked him down. And I heard that he was complaining about the pains. And Sunday last week, I sent him to Tema General Hospital. The time we went there, they gave me the medicine. The doctor wrote the 50 milligram, and the pharmacy gave me 75 milligram. And I sent the boy to where we are going to take the X-ray. And I left the boy there, and something told me to take the medicine back to the doctor, to show the doctor the medicine to the doctor. And I went there and I showed the medicine to the doctor. Said, "This is the medicine that your people gave to me." And she was standing. He said, "Where is the medicine?" And I give the medicine to her. This is the medicine. I give the medicine to her, and he was looking at the medicine. He said, "Why this pharmacy? The pharmacy doing this? They write the 50 milligram, and she gave me 75 milligram." And I asked her, "Did I send the medicine back to them and change it?" And she was holding the medicine, and then she told me I should go and give it to the boy. And she told me the medicine is strong for the boy and it's for the adult. So I should go and give the medicine to the boy. I should give him one. And I went there, I give one medicine to the boy, and he take it. After we take the result of the X-ray, I give it back to the doctor. And the doctor look at the X-ray, they say it's not, the bone is not broke or something. Then he gave me the medicine back, say if we come home, I should continue giving the medicine to the boy. From Monday to Wednesday, I give the medicine to the boy. The time he was taking the medicine, he was complaining about his stomach pain and the heart. The boy cannot sleep, every day complaining. And I sent this medicine to one of my pharmacy here to show the medicine to him. And he looked at the medicine, he asked me, "Who gave me this medicine to give to the boy?" And I said, "I went to Tema General Hospital, and this is the medicine that they gave to me." And he said the medicine is too strong for the boy. So I should send the boy back to them and complain how he was going through. And I take him back to Tema General Hospital. And we went there on Friday, and they admit us that Friday up to Sunday. And that Friday, because of the pains he was going through and the heart is beating, they put oxygen on him. From that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday dawn by 4 o'clock, my boy is gone. This boy left me over there. I was holding this boy. This boy was suffering, crying, "Mama, I'm suffering. All my throat is paining me. My stomach, my heart." It's only one doctor in that night. And the doctor also is not there. He left to go to another ward. It's only one nurse there. I was calling the nurse. The boy is complaining. And that time, I think they put a rubber in her penis so that how he can urine, because of the urine. Then the time he was taking the medicine, the urine also changed color. That Sunday dawn, the pain is too much for the boy. And I was calling the nurse. The nurse is sleeping there. I was calling her, "Come and look at my boy. The boy is suffering too much." And she told me, she called the doctor. The doctor said the pain is normal. So he doesn't know what to do. And the boy is complaining. I was calling this nurse, call the doctor. was sleeping there, told me the doctor is coming. Before the doctor reached there, I was holding my boy like this, suffering, crying. Mommy, I'm suffering. All my throat is paining me. My stomach, my heart. Mommy, look at the time for me. And I'm asking, why do you want me to look at the time? He said, take your phone and look at the time for me. And I said, I will not look at the time for you. At the time I look at the time, it's 3 o'clock that way. And I didn't tell him. He said, no. He was complaining, Mommy, I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. No. And I'm asking, why are you saying that? Saying this to me. Why are you going? Why are you going? Stop that. Stop, don't say that. And I was holding him like this, calling this. Before the doctor reached there, this boy was gone.
Our condolences to Madame Mabel Senai there. We have with us in the studio lawyer Christian Hesse, a private legal practitioner, to help us understand the legal side of things. A lawyer, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So how often do we come across cases like this?
Well, medical negligence cases come across a lot, and for most of them, they are unreported. The statistics are not so much here, but in the US, the Institute of Medicine have it that about 80% go without it being recorded. And out of the 20%, just about 10% of them are able to go through to the court. So we have a percentage of it which are also settled. And then that's how medical negligence cases pan out. And if it comes to litigation in courts, there are a lot of angles that we need to assess before we really put it up in court.
So far, and we'll be hearing the management of the hospital soon, but so far from what we know, is this a case worth pursuing?
Well, in looking at it, we would have to assess the story. What do the facts say? And in looking at it, that would help us to come to that conclusion of whether the success rate of this case is really there to pursue.
So looking at this story, because what we have so far is what we've been told, that he went to the hospital, the mother narrates what happens when they took the drugs, how the doctor reacted. Do we have enough to go by?
From what I pick up on this unfolding story, I see unfolding because a lot of things are still coming up. First and foremost, this comes under the area of law we call tort. And tort is a civil aspect of the law that deals with civil or responsible implicit responsibilities which one owes to the other. And looking at that, we have what we call duty of care. So when the patient walks up to the hospital, that relationship is already built. We are not going to interrogate that. Now, the most important thing for us to look at is whether a breach occurred. And in establishing that breach out of the duty of care, we also assess, more interestingly, the causal link. So we would have to trace the causation factors. Now, that's where the intricate issues lie. In establishing the causal link, as the story unfolds, the issue of the drug, as to whether it was the right dosage as prescribed by the doctor and whether the pharmacist increased it. Now, those are issues that we ought to establish in law. And subsequently, other issues also coming up is that they took the child to a Ponchin clinic where certain concoctions, traditional herbal medicine was applied to the injured leg.
Well, that is alleged because we haven't confirmed from the family if that indeed happened.
Yes, that's why I said it's an unfolding story. And all of these things will be certified by the coroner's report, so that if that bit of the story is anything to go by, it would have a probative turn on the matter, such that it is going to affect the causal link. So if before we disjoint it from the logical conclusion that in the hypothetical situation, the doctors breached the duty that they owed, and that is even another matter for interrogation, but assuming, without admitting that that was the case, this matter of the application of the drug on the leg evinces that it caused the child to get sepsis and cellulitis. Sepsis is an infection of the blood, and coupled with cellulitis, it affects the trachea and finally gives you cardiac arrest. So that if it's anything to go by, what the child experiences or experienced leading up to his death is
as a result of the possible application of maybe an ointment when you went to this,
the traditional applications.
Yeah, this traditional application. But again, that's an allegation.
Yes, so that's an allegation. So we are just examining the general nature of the story as it's coming by. But as I said, more interestingly, looking at the application of the drugs, what we also look at is the standard of care owed by professionals. And in the law of thought, a high standard is required of persons in professional conduct.
I'm glad you brought that in, the issue of high standards required. Let's hear from the medical director of the hospital, Dr. Kwabena Opoku-Edu say, so that after we hear what he has to say, then we can evaluate what we think, if we think those standards were met by the professionals involved. Let's hear Dr. Kwabena Opoku-Edu say.
You can come next week, not tomorrow. I'm busy this week. So, but I'll set up the system of when we give in the name and some particular countries. I will. And then I'll even ask the clinical coordinator. We have a setup properly where things are done. So I'll get the name of and then I'll start my investigations.
Okay, we have the name, so we'll be providing the name to you.
So, and so I don't want to go into that. That said, I want to get the facts. When I get the facts, and the press needs to know, we will not hide anything.
Okay, so hopefully tomorrow we can come for the facts.
Tomorrow, you just told me. Yeah, thank you for coming. This is the first time hearing of this news, if it is news at all. This is the first time hearing. What I implore people is that the hospital has management. And if you come to the hospital and there's any problem, you report to management. Not report to the press. You report to the management. Even after going through management, you are not satisfied, you want to seek redress in the press or wherever, that's fine. I don't know about this case. When people are saying things, at times they are just stories. I'm not saying that the patient didn't die. It's unfortunate, and we are sympathies to the bereaved family. But he said the person was sick. I don't know how, where he was sick. The drug is just a painkiller. I don't want to go into the dose, and it was 50 or 75. You said that they've taken the body, don't try the hospital, taking the body to Bato or somewhere else for postmortem. I mean, that is their right. So there's an issue, you take your body away for postmortem elsewhere, you don't inform the head of the hospital. How do you know, assuming things didn't go right, then how do you put in corrective measures? So now that has come to my notice, if I get the name of air and then the particulars, I'll investigate and find out what actually happened. And if there's a need to talk to the press or somebody, we will do that. There are cases that people take other people's body, this is the other side, even for burial. You pull out the bodies, oh, this is my nephew. Well, suddenly everybody becomes afraid of a dead body. Then they go prepare for burial, then realize that no, it was not that person. Somebody's baby died somewhere. They said, oh, I think that the baby was bigger than this. It's weight. Do you know the weight or say no? One day, born baby, how do you know that was bigger or small? We didn't weigh, you didn't ask for the birth weight. So I don't want to say that there are stories. Actually, if there's death, there's death. But then there are times that we need to know whether what they are saying is the truth, or at times we just made a story so sweet.
Interesting opinions there being expressed by Dr. Opoku-Agyeman. What's the impression you get, lawyer, when you hear him?
Well, I mean, from what he's retorting, it seems they want to put in some kind of probe, but he's not giving firm assurances as to how all of these things are going to pan out. And it's an internal process that they want to exhaust to see whether or not the doctor was indeed negligent and all that. But that notwithstanding, the victim's mother can also, I mean, legal redress is always available, and she can decide to exhaust legal redress so that parallel to what the hospital is running, she can also see an end to what is happening. But more interestingly, as I mentioned, the standard required of medical professionals, the standard is such that we use what we call the Bolam test. It came out of a case, Bolam versus Friar Hospital, and it says that where the procedure that is used is that which is consistent with respectable medical opinion, then the doctor will not have not breached the duty of care. So that if the procedure of administration of these drugs as to what whether
you mean the prescription or how the drug was given, or when you say procedure?
All of those. If all of those arrangements fall in line with medical procedure, then which is consistent with their procedure, but not the doctor acting contrary or below the standards of that procedure, then that doctor would be indeed held to be a tortfeasor or liable tortiously. And also,
what will be the possible punishment for such a doctor?
Well, that is not in isolation. Before I come to your question, aside applying that test, the court would also look at a second test that is called the Bolito test, and that is Bolito and City of Hackney Health Authority. And in that, it's sought to say that irrespective of the medical opinion, the court has the inherent jurisdiction to look at whether it is logical, conscionable, and reasonable for such procedure to be applied. So that if the court finds that it is not agreeable to the conditions of state, then the court will hold the doctor to have acted below such standards. So that where all of these causal issues of novus actus intervening, that's anything that is supervening to break the chain of causation.
Which in this case would be a visit to another healthcare facility.
Yes, all of these things would be examined. And during the court processes, medical experts will be called upon to give expert opinion. I mean, in their evidence in chief, they will be cross-examined and all. So it is a long marathon to establish all of these things. And
in this case, like you were saying, well, I'm sure you're coming up to that, but in this case, if someone was found liable, what are we looking at?
Liability would involve compensation, because where such implicit responsibilities are breached, in tortious claims, the claimant is sought to be restored to that which he or she was then enjoying, so that it will be general damages. It will be general damages, and in that it would go to distress, claims for damages for distress, that's compensatory damages for distress, psychiatric injury, the loss, and all of those.
About how much are we looking at if we look at general damages?
Again, that is also in the inherent jurisdiction of the court. The court will assess all that has panned out and would be able to come to a conclusion, because general damages are mostly to the discretion of the court as compared to special damages. You get it? So all of these things, the court will look at the damage that is suffered by the child and the family and all of that. And if the victim had been an adult, then the court would go into to look at whether there are any dependents and what they ought to have benefited, and all of those things would have been factored into. So, I mean, generally, it will write down from the duty of care, whether there was breach. They'll look at the causative factors, and then we'll look at the damages as I rightly put it.
So finally, what will be your legal advice to the family?
Well, my legal advice also has included what I have just expounded here. And more so, it would be about interrogating the facts as with the law. And we would have to await the coroner's report to see what really happened to the child. After the coroner's report is out, we would have to get experts to give opinion on it, whether it agrees to the procedures that were adopted by the medical health experts at the Tema General Hospital, as in the doctor, the pharmacy, and even the nurse. All of those things would have to be looked at to find out whether...
But what is the best avenue to look at this?
The best avenue to look at this is for the family to get to a lawyer to help them in all of these legal issues.
So you believe the family should immediately get the services of a lawyer?
Respectfully so. I mean, this borders largely on legal matters, and every step required would need a lawyer to assist them. So, and I believe there are lawyers around, and the family should be able to seek legal advice.
Right, thank you very much. Lawyer Christian Momah. He is a private legal practitioner, giving some advice to the family of Madam Senai, who has just lost her son.